You cannot say someone is an addict. Instead, they recommend that you try this phrase. She is addicted to alcohol. She is in recovery from drug addiction. Use those phrases instead of saying she is an addict. Say that she is addicted to alcohol. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, first, it's what is the motivation for doing this? Yeah, I mean, you've said it, like, we don't want people stigmatized, but why do you not want people stigmatized? There's a reason why you don't want people stigmatized, because you think that you will, people that are talking like this, they think that the stigmatism is a contributing factor to something, right? And if we take away that contributing factor, they're going to get some kind of result. That's the whole point of trying to correct our language here, right?
Yeah.
Don't say she's an addict. Say she is addicted to alcohol, or she is in recovery from addiction, right?
Right.
So why change the language? You and I both first have an issue, look, I've identified myself. I still will say that I came from a addiction background. I was an addict. I'll say that stuff because it was just when you lived it for as long as people like we did. It just kind of becomes second language. But
yeah, people
around you, understand that I know who I am in Christ, and I understand. You understand what I meant by, I could just generically say that I was a sinner, right? I was a drunkard. I could say that, but it's not. I'm still learning how to use that language myself, But for the most part, when most people say you're an addict, this is like one of those points where you have to let's define terms here. Like, what do you mean by you're an addict, right? Because if you and I go to a popular meeting places where people identify as an addict, they're defining that very differently than you and I both are, right?
Right.
So you have to kind of assume already this person that is saying that she is an addict, they are defining it a certain way, and I would bet my money, all my millions of dollars that I have, that what they mean is they're coming from a disease model understanding of addiction, right? So
yes.
The disease model ultimately, there's biological factors that are causative in addiction. So I don't want to lose anybody, but in our podcast, but Mark and I and anybody that's listening to this that's a Christian believes that we are flesh and spirit, right? That's how God made us, and we have a spiritual side that is the causative portion of addiction, and that is my heart and my desires. That is what is causative, which will produce biological influences on our addiction. Is that sounding all right to you, the way I'm saying it? So basically what it means is that my desires, my heart has led me to the substance abuse, right? My choices have done that, but throughout that process, my body has been influenced by the biological changes that have happened, right? But those are influences, not causes for my behavior, right? So I can't blame my behavior on those biological changes that have happened because of my addiction.
Yes.
Right? But the reverse is true in this world that we're talking about, because they do not identify human beings as flesh and spirit, right? Mm-hmm. They are flesh only. So all the issues are biologically caused, right?
Yeah.
So this person that they're calling an addict, it's really not their fault they're an addict. They're an addict because of biology, right? And that's causative in that sense. So we don't want to stigmatize them any more than they are having to face this. I mean, it's almost like it's almost to them like if you were to, let's say somebody was born with a handicap, right? Maybe born with a disfigured hand. You wouldn't want to call that person, "Hey, disfigured hand." You know, that's the reason. This is what they believe, right?
Right.
They believe that this person is an addict at almost no fault of their own.
Yeah.
Right? They were born that way. They were biologically made that way. You know, genetic, whatever you want to do. I mean, how many different theories are there nowadays? There used to be the chemical imbalance. You know,
Mm-hmm.
now then it's your neural pathways and transmitters and you know, there was the genetic predisposition for a while. I mean, it's changing all the time. So I don't know where they're at right now. I'm pretty sure it's the neurology behind it all. That's what they're pointing to as the cause.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like somebody born with a disfigured hand. You know, to
That's
make a pretty easy example of you wouldn't say, "Hey, look, here comes this disfigured hand person." Right. So they don't want you saying she's an addict, because that's basically, in their world, that's what you're doing to them.
That's right.
Because you're associating their whole life with this thing that they have that's really no fault of their own.
Right.
So it's better to lighten the load. You don't want to stigmatize them to say that they are addicted to alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're in this position where, I mean, have you ever seen somebody who's addicted to alcohol? I mean,